It's another Human First AI marketing podcast. I'm your host, Mike Montague at Avenue 9. You can find us at avenue9.com, doing all kinds of cool AI marketing stuff, from AEO services to get you ranked inside of the LLM recommendations, to using AI to create content and share stories and reach new audiences, or just take some weight off your marketing team. Whatever you got going on, find it out at avenue9.com. My guest this week is Amer Tadayon. He is the founder of LuciHub, and we're going to talk to him about AI video production, what creative CoPilots are doing these days, how you can actually make cool stuff with AI script generators, voiceover tools, and the works today as far as creative output. Amer, thanks for being
Mike. Thanks for having me.
So let's start with the human first question. I always like to put this with other people first. I think especially in video production, I keep seeing, like, there's the writer's strike in Hollywood and other people freaking out that like AI video keeps getting better. And I just don't see the problem with this. Maybe it's because I've grown up in the era of like, tools going from having to do it on film to using something like an AI editing tool that is just saving me massive amounts of time. I kind of see AI as creating an easier way to make stuff, opening that up to more people, not less people, and giving you more options for creative storytelling than you've ever had before. But what's your take on this?
You and I are on the same page on this. I think what it's done is, and I think if I'm going to give you an entrepreneur's lens, launching a business, and let's look at the production work. Getting a project off the ground is really hard. We were talking about animation before we started the show. Doing an animated project is really, really expensive. Now think about all these people who have amazing ideas for a show who never ever get to see the light of day because it's just about capital. It's literally just about capital, right? Yep. So I think the problem you're having is AI is democratizing storytelling. And so now everybody can be a great storyteller. And if you have a great story to tell, you can tell it. And I think it's pissing off a lot of people who used to have this moat around them that said, well, if you can't get the capital, you can't get there. And so our stuff is going to see the light of day before anybody else does. I think those are the people who are getting pissed about it. But I'm with you. Look, it's in an age now where anybody who has a great story can find a way to tell it. And that wasn't the case. I mean, I did an animated series a long time ago. It was a 7-figure venture, right? Yeah. It was a 7-figure venture that didn't do all that well because I needed 8 figures. But my point is, you didn't have to have 7 figures to be able to bring a really good story to life. And so in that sense, I think what it's done is it's basically opened up the world to a lot of people who will never get to tell their story to get to tell their story.
I agree. I mean, we've seen that in social media and other marketing tools and stuff too, is that more people can start a marketing agency, or more people can make a cool meme that goes viral because now they don't have to know Photoshop and set up a shoot and all this stuff. It's like, oh, you can just make a cool image, tag something funny on it, animate something, create a 6-second video clip. There was one that went viral yesterday about AI rabbits like jumping on a trampoline, and it was super cute and like millions of views on TikTok. And somebody just made this short, like 4-8-second video and was able to tell a funny story that they wanted, or make something they wanted to see. And I think if you expand that out, that's kind of a dumb thing nobody except for TikTok made money on. But if you take it 8 seconds at a time, you can start telling really cool stories. You can start putting shots together. And now these tools keep getting better to do that, right?
To your point, LuciHub is the business I run, and it's a AI-powered video production cloud. And we have some enterprising entrepreneurs who've seen the value in it. And they've actually launched one-person agencies doing social media content using the platform because we give them everything, and they're a one-person team. And we have a few of them doing really, really well. Basically started their own business and they're thriving with it. So, yeah.
And I get, it depends on which side of the fence you're on. I suppose if you were the photographer or you were the videographer creating the stock footage and all of the stock images for these ads and stuff, that's one thing. Your income is going to be a little bit different, or you still have to find a voice. It was already hard because so many people were doing it. But if you're on the agency, or especially a small agency or small business side, I don't know about you, but I've worked with plenty of companies that just don't have the budget to license a song or an image or especially video and other stuff. It's like for $10,000 a minute, that's my whole campaign budget for
Well,
the
I just had this conversation with an executive at a global company who said, historically, when we hear the word video, we walk away because we associate that with budget that we typically don't have, right? And so again, our company was basically designed to kind of change that landscape.
Yeah.
And so a lot of our customers are saying, we're doing projects today that we would have never been able to do 2 years ago because it would have been cost prohibitive, right? We're taking risks now that we would have never taken 2 years ago because if it fails, we didn't blow quarters worth of budget. And so it's really opened up the what would you call it? It's opened it up for everybody to try and not be afraid to fail because it's not going to be a huge failure, right? Or huge
Yeah,
expense.
I love that. And I'm seeing the same thing with all levels of marketing, which is why I started Avenue 9 and got so excited about it because I was
Yeah,
like, oh, if I can do this in a tenth of the time or a tenth of the cost, I could either help 10 times as many people or I can take 10 times as many swings at it, as you said, and I can do some really cool things that weren't possible, especially for small and medium-sized businesses 2 years ago. But tell me, I want to switch gears a little bit because I think we've nailed the problem and the opportunity, but how are people actually going about making a video or a commercial or a project, any type of storytelling? I don't think you really care what they make in your platform, but how they make it has changed significantly in the last 2 years.
significantly. Yeah, it has. So LuciHub is really a human first platform. It's human editors, AI agents working together to create video content with quality at speed and scale, right? You could usually only have one or two of those three. Today, you could arguably have all three of them because of AI. But what we've seen really shift is, well, first of all, the demand, and we sell to businesses mostly. Like we started out in events, but we sell to the enterprise. And what we've seen is this huge shift to we need more content and we need it now, but we don't have enough people to do it, and we don't have the budgets to do as much as we'd want. And so what we've done is we've said, look, no one's going to tell your story as well as you are. No agency is. You live it, you breathe it, you do it every day. So we've empowered them to tell the story with AI agents, right? Script writers, voiceover generators, shot list generators. But then what we do is we bring it to the finish line for them. And as far as the filming goes, 95% of our clients are filming on a phone these days. Literally, they're filming on a phone. And so we empower them to be mobile first. We give them the AI tools to coach them, and then they upload everything. And when they're ready, we take it to the finish line with a professional editor. And that professional editor is using AI agents to accelerate edits, right? So now you can do a lot more with a lot less. But we see all sorts of stories coming out now. And I think the other fundamental shift, at least in our space, is enabling the frontline workers to be storytellers. So historically, marketing teams would come up with the story and say, this is the story, and they would push it out. Now marketing teams are they're collecting the stories, curating the stories, and pushing them out. So it's a fundamental shift in our industry and how the story of the brand is being told and how frontline workers are being enabled to tell it through their lens, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, I love that. And that's exactly what I do at Avenue 9 is what you said. Is I learned that I've been a radio broadcaster, an interviewer, and a podcaster for decades now. And so a lot of people can't maybe tell their story, but I love collecting them. And I love asking you questions where it encourages you in how to say it. I think also collecting and finding these gold nuggets and curating them from other conversations, whether it's a client meeting or an internal, sales call and sales team meeting where you go, oh, really what the prospects are buying is X. And you go, ooh, you know what? We should probably record that, save that, package that up and send that out. Because what you just said was the gold. And so many of those were being missed before AI.
We do a show called Lights, Camera, Communicate, and it's a monthly live stream. And we had a guest from a company, and she said, video today is like fast fashion. And we're like, ooh, you know what? We got to grab that. It's exactly what we did, Mike. We did a cut down of that series. We grabbed that and we've been pushing it all over social media. So
Yeah,
I totally agree.
I love it, and then the speed and effectiveness of what you can do is so interesting because the other thing you mentioned was the iPhone.
Yeah.
I'm seeing reports that the actual lower quality videos are doing better than the higher quality videos these days, and more
They
people
are.
are getting skeptical of high production, great cameras, spending a ton of money on stuff, and then they go, that's great, but we don't believe it. It's not authentic. It's obviously a script. It's overproduced. It could be AI generated and fake. Where somebody just or us having a real conversation on some webcams seems to be more authentic and some ways even more engaging. I think. What are you seeing in your space?
Well, I saw two bits of data for you on that. One is internally as a company, the best performing social content we have are cut downs of podcasts like this. They perform better than anything else we post, and we actually did a very high quality, polished commercial for LuciHub. We used an iPhone 16 Pro to prove a point, but the stuff like this actually does better. I've got another good data point for you. We sell to a lot of charities. Our service is really good for charities. They can expand and amplify their story without having to spend a ton of money. But two of them in the last 8 months did their annual fundraisers, and they decided they wouldn't bring a professional team in. And typically it's tens of thousands, and that's a lot of money for a nonprofit. They decided they were going to use the LuciHub platform. They were going to film on their phones. They used DJI lavaliers, right? They told the stories. Both organizations, and they're on different sides of the country, had the most successful fundraising campaigns they've ever had. So I met with both of them separately, and I said, what do you attribute the success of this campaign to? And they both said the same thing. They said, our video had a level and a sense of authenticity to it that we think really, really won the audience over. And so lo-fi is converting better than hi-fi right now, at least in social and in the enterprise. And I think it's that sense of authenticity to it that polished videos just don't bring. Now, there's a place for a polished video, but I think as things shift and as video goes from being just a trend to a way of life, I think authenticity matters.
Now, I'm going to ask you a slightly controversial one here. We don't have to agree on this, but I had somebody else, I was a guest on another podcast this week, really beat me up about the AI voiceovers and asked me if any of them were good enough for an audiobook and stuff. And my take was no, not really. And the AI video ones still seem to have the uncanny valley to me. If there's a AI generated avatar and it kind of moves like one of the old Chuck E. Cheese robots and stuff. I just feel like they're not quite there yet. But you guys do have an AI voiceover tool, and I don't seem to mind them if they are like technical videos or scripts, or we have other interesting visuals, and I'm not seeing this AI like character on them.
So we don't have avatars yet. We do have voiceovers, and I think you're right. I actually don't think they're great. I think there's a place for them, and that's it. Now, if you look at our audience, the shelf life of the social content they're creating is about 3 days. They're not going to go and spend the money that you would traditionally spend on a voiceover actor. Now, if they're doing something bigger and it's a brand piece or something that's going to be living a longer life than 3 days, they probably will go and spend that money. And I know voiceover artists who are friends of mine who are still doing the work. But even one of them last month said to me, I'm going to refer this client to you because what they want and what they want us for, it just doesn't match. So I think it has its place. Is it going to replace everything? I don't today. No, it won't. In fact, ours has multi-language support. The foreign languages sound better than the English does. Our French voiceover is way better than the English voiceover.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was my point on this other podcast too, was that if there's a specific reason for it, like you want to do it in a language you don't speak, then great, you do the English version and then have AI translate into all the others. And that's amazing. Then you're reaching people you wouldn't have been able to reach. You're actually communicating better with them than you would have if you had English subtitles on it and stuff. I think that's a great use case for something.
Yeah, and that's where we're seeing more of our customers use it. They're using it, by the way, and ours actually lets you lets you tune the voices so you can increase speed and rate and
Mm.
tone and all of that. But still, I think there's a place for those voiceovers, and there's a place for the professional voiceovers. And if you're trying to do something that sounds really amazing and professional with one of these AI tools, you're just not going to get there.
Now, I want to fast forward a little bit and move us into where you think things are going, or how people can leverage these to get ahead of the curve a little bit, because I'm
Mhm.
seeing really cool stuff start to become possible. We chatted before that this tool just came out as we're recording this,
Yeah.
that it's not even released to the public yet. It's on a Discord server, but you could actually change the scripts of TV shows and create your own cartoons or TV shows, put yourself in as a character. And I've been saying this for a while, that I think in 10 years, maybe less, we'll have, like, not only will Netflix be showing me different titles than you when you log in, but they could be customizing those shows. We could both be watching Black Mirror or something, and my episode would have me in it and your episode would have you in it, or it would be about your city and my city. And they could have contextual live changes in movies and stuff that I think is really cool. But in the meantime, I think what we talked about was all the cool stuff speeding this up and getting cheaper and faster is opening creative opportunities too. Have you seen any cool ways that people are using your tool and or others to make an impact?
I mean, our tool, we're seeing enterprises create way more video than they ever have, right? And do things that they would have never done. So that's cool to see. In fact, we're finding a new use case every week. Like, wow, what did they do here? What did they do there? So I think the fact that it doesn't have to be an orchestrated event and a huge investment means let's take some risks and try different things. We had one group launching a product, and they basically they did it in the way of a spaceship launch. The executives were astronauts, and it was really cool. They created this whole little skit. Historically would have probably cost them a lot of money, and they did it for a fraction of that, and it worked, and it was great, and that happened. I think one of the things that we're seeing, with the VO Studio, we're actually seeing more stuff happen uh, that wouldn't have happened because VOs are really expensive, right?
Mm.
And so to your point, are you going to do a dozen videos? And we just did this, by the way, multi-language for a bunch of countries that are going to last 2 days and they're going to be gone, right? Like, so we're seeing videos come up where they used to never come up because it just didn't make sense. Now it's a great way to communicate, and it's cost effective enough that they can do it. And almost like, I mean, that notion that our guest Melissa said of fast fashion really applies to video today. And lo-fi, it's a great way to just do something, maybe tell a short story that's time sensitive, and then no one's going to care about it after that day. So that's one of the
Well,
things we're seeing.
that's one of the projects I wanted to ask you about. I have this client that has 40 key concepts they're trying to articulate as like educational content for sales reps, but there's also 3 divisions of this company. So if we really wanted to do our best work, we would create a different one for each division, which means 120 videos. I've done this in my previous life where we did it. It took $500,000 and 3 to 6 months to do, but we made 120 assets or more. I think it ended up 144 on the project I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And it took about 6 months to do. Tell me what a process like that would do in your tool or others with AI. What's the best way for me if I have 40 kind of ideas for videos to turn them into 40 assets as fast as possible?
So is it 40 variations with different content, all of them having different content?
Yeah. 40 different
Okay, and is that
themes or
content
topics about their product or service that they want
and
to
is
highlight.
that content already been filmed, or do you need to film it, or is it stock footage?
It's not filmed right now. It's in a PDF like script, text scripts.
Okay. So what you could do on our platform is upload the PDF, turn it into a script. It'll actually turn it into a shot list and tell you what shots you need to tell that story. And then you can either grab stock footage, push it into our platform, or shoot practical, push it in. And we have a 72-hour SLA, so you could probably get those 40 projects in less than 3 weeks.
Okay. Wow, that's
We just did
interesting.
18 for a client in 72 hours.
Nice. I think that type of production really opens up a lot more personalization, and that's just better for storytelling
Yeah,
as
we
well.
have a client. This is a great story. They're a global company. They wanted to do employee stories. They did 95 of them globally in a year. Think about what that would cost, and logistically what that would take to do 95 employee stories in 10 different countries, right? Maybe more. Uh,
Yeah.
and they did it with a lean team. They used us on the back end, and we were delivering a project every 72 hours for them.
Now, I noticed you said you still have human editors on the back end. Why was that important to you, and what's the key there?
So I think in our business, it's always going to be important. I think in any creative space, you've got this level of subjectivity. What looks good to you may not look good to me, and vice versa. And in our business, our customers don't want to compromise quality. And at least today, AI is not in a place where it's going to give you a polished product. It's going to give you some semblance of a project, right? I actually think the best use of video AI is for B-roll. It's
Yeah,
creating
I
stock
agree.
footage. We'll never use it to tell a whole story, but we'll use it to create some really, maybe an establishing shot. Or we just had a client do it. Actually, they're using AI to create all of the B-roll, put it in with their practical shots, and we're stitching it together for them. But for me, creativity is subjective, and I think it's always going to require some level of human touch, even if it's a minute of it. And so we pride ourselves on, hey, we're still a team and a service that's got creatives giving you creative back. We're just leveraging the tools to do it a hell of a lot faster than we used to be able to do it. And you've been in the business, so
Yeah.
if I tell you, hey, like we had a project in Seattle last week. The client wanted to share the video at the end of the event. It was a all-day conference, and the caveat was that last interview or that last speaker at 5:15 has to be in the edit.
In the shot. Yeah.
And so, they finished at 6, and at 6:30 p.m. they presented the video, and people's jaws dropped because that last speaker was in that particular video. So we're still doing it. We're just doing it way faster and way better than we used to be able to do it.
I love that. I've done those at events and stuff too, and those last shots and speakers are the toughest part. Got to do those on site there most of the time. But
And they're all filming. The rule was, hey, you got to drop everything in by this time, and you'll have your edit back. And so, but it was still a professional editor, right?
yeah,
They had
great.
creative freedom to tell the story they needed to tell. And I always say, 2 years ago they were editors. Today they're storytellers, and they're turning into orchestrators. So,
Yeah, I love that. And also just at Avenue 9, that's what I think our value is to our clients here as well, is that you're going to get some marketing strategy at the beginning. You're going to get some help shaping this. You're going to get us using the tools as fast as possible in the middle and some marketing execution. But then you're also going to get this person just to check it, to fact check stuff, to review it, and have an aesthetic eye. Where I've been doing this long enough, it's funny. I don't think people that haven't been in the creative professional space don't understand that sometimes the client wants something ugly, and you just got to make something ugly to match their ugly brand. And sometimes you get to make really cool stuff and they go, ooh, I love it. And sometimes you make really cool stuff and they go, actually, could you just make it ugly? And you go, okay, I guess that's what it is. But there is a taste, and there's always this final amount, this little bit that even if AI can do 99% of it, you still need a person to go in there and tweak that 1%, or it just is off, and it
yeah,
doesn't
no,
quite hit.
that's so. Yeah, so we're a human first company,
Yeah,
and I think it will be that way for a long time. So.
that's awesome. All right, but you say a long time. I find that there's like this horizon of like super intelligence, or whatever this next wave of AI is that I can't see past. But I'm going to ask you to try. So just for
Okay.
fun, what do you think the world of video and video marketing looks like in, say, 10 to 15 years?
I think it's going to be what you just talked about, that if I'm going to walk by a billboard, it's going to know exactly who I am, and it's going to serve exactly what I want, right? I don't know
Yeah,
if you saw
I'm here for it.
that roast command on chat. People are like, go on chat and say roast me and see what comes up. I did it, and it pretty much knows me well, right?
Yeah,
So I think I'm gonna load up a social media account, and it's gonna serve exactly what I mean, they're already getting there, right? They're already doing it. Talk about a coffee maker, and the coffee maker shows up. So I think it's going to be a little more granular. And I think content is king. I think it's going to continue to be king. And I think the video or the entertainment industry is substantially going to shift in how it's being done. And I think you're going to see independent films and independent content take over.
Yeah, I think that's really fun. We're already there where, you know, a Mr. Beast video on YouTube gets more plays than a network television by 10x.
That's the modern day entertainment, right? That's who's going to get the dollars. That's who Amazon's going to pay. That's who Netflix is going to pay. And I think it's good for independent artists because now they have a shot.
Well, I think it's going to split again. So, you know, continuing down that route, we went from, you know, 4 channels to 100 with cable to now millions with YouTube.
Yep.
But I think it can even be more. I think people are going to get their own individual algorithms and be able to create custom content and stuff. So in that space, it'll be really fascinating to see what the idea of a channel is in a world where there's no pipes or channels anymore. It's a distributed network.
Well, I want to go back to doing choose your own adventure shows using AI.
Me too. I can't wait. There are people doing it. I've seen Netflix kind of launch those. Have you ever tried any of those where you can?
Well, you know, I actually made one years ago using the DVD as an authoring tool. So we actually created multiple scenarios, and you got to pick what it went, and you went that route. It was at that time I was doing it with animation. There was another company that was doing it. It didn't get very far, but I think we were the only two that were using the DVD authoring tool as a UI.
DVD had some interesting features there towards the end, and I think I did something similar for like a marketing presentation somewhere. But
I actually think AI can generate the storylines, right? It'll actually
as you go.
As you go. Yeah.
That's super cool. All right, now we'll try one more fun one. If you went 30 years out within our lifetime, what do you think the human race looks like? Do you think what sci-fi movie do you think we would end up in?
I think it's going to be a combination of Terminator meets Star Wars.
Okay.
That's what I think.
I think that's interesting. I prefer a little Star Trek in there versus Star Wars, but I see where you're going. And I asked you which one you thought we would end up in, not which one you would pick.
I think it'd be a combination of them, but I think we'll end up in Terminator.
Yeah, I think I would prefer or predict maybe the Matrix combined with some sort of Star Wars. I think is probably.
I just think the vehicles that we're creating are going to get there. I think, you know, you're going to be in your land speeder or one of those, you know, the pod racers and all those things. I think they're going to be coming around soon.
That will be fun for sure. All right, Amer. How can you help us, or how can we help you with what you have going on at LuciHub?
I mean, I think just share the story of mobile first, right? Mobile first, and you can be, you know, you can be your own storyteller.
It's LuciHub.com. You can also connect with Amer Tadayon at LinkedIn. He's got a great following and good connection there, so reach out to him. And as far as Avenue 9 goes, again, if you want to tell better scalable stories in your marketing, I can interview your founder, your top salespeople, best clients, come up with a cool story, use AI to amplify that and get to your targeted customers that we can find with AI as well. Good stuff. Thanks, Amer. Have a great rest of your day and keep going, everybody. Have fun.
Thanks, Mike.